Hey everybody, Joshua Hatton here, doing a little side-by-side video. Had a number of nation members today reach out wanting to know the differences between what was our first backwoods, this 3-year-old bottled November 2021, so that would have been released sometime in 2022, and the latest one that was launched today. What's today? There you go, April 18th. And that is our 4-year-old. And this was bottled September 2023. And again, just launching today, April 18th. So Backwoods, for those of you that don't know, Backwoods is a producer of rye and malt whiskey out of a lovely little town. Well, I've not been there, but the town name is fantastic. The town is called Yackandandah, and that's in Victoria, Australia. And the owners there, Lee and Bree, have been, fans of the One Nation Under Whiskey podcast. I think really early on when they were working on their distillery and building it out and trying to figure out, what sort of whiskeys they want to make. And they reached out to us. Those who listened to the podcast will likely have heard Lee a few years back alone talking about the distillery and the things that they're doing. And then we had Lee back again with his wife, Bree, just giving us updates and sharing news about their distillery and all sorts of other things that are going on there. Anyway, they started sending us samples and we fell in love with their spirit. It's when we think of rye whiskey, we think of American rye. Typically, we think of Indiana rye out of MGP, right? Making gorgeous, gorgeous rye whiskey, or Alberta rye out of Canada. These are likely the two biggest ryes out of Alberta and Indiana. And here we have one that's not from the U.S., it's not Canada, this is Australian rye, and what's more is it's a heritage rye as well, meaning, this was a species of rye that was basically forgotten. They found out about it, started propagating it, and then started making whiskey out of it. So the differences between the two whiskeys, the first rye that we bottled, which was selling in early 2022, was from a re-charred French Oak Shiraz cask, Australian Shiraz. So, a new cask, maturing Shiraz, and then re-charred, so almost like an STR cask, to then mature their rye whiskey, which is, it's rye, unmalted, also malted rye, and some chocolate malt in there as well. The mash bill remains the same for the two whiskeys. And then with this second one, where the first one was 3 years old, the second one is 4 years old. And what we did is we actually used the cask that matured this whiskey as a holding or a marrying vessel for two other casks that we selected. So we selected two casks that were maturing rye whiskey, and they were re-charred American oak casks. Married that together, put it in that French Oak re-charred Shiraz cask for another year. So 3 years in a re-charred American oak, 1 year in re-charred French Oak, and that's what this is, right? So, those that are very familiar with us will likely know we like to have fun with some casks and playing around with our whiskeys and doing some fun things to create, new experiments that, hopefully no one else is doing. But anyway, I'm gonna go over the first one, which was our 3-year-old, and then I'm gonna compare it to our 4-year-old. So, the 3-year-old has got a really herbaceous nose, but it's not that, again, back to rye, quite often we think of MGP or Indiana rye, and it tends to have that herbaceous, almost pickly kind of nose, and this is not that. It's herbaceous, but behind it, there's a good bit of chocolate, back to that chocolate malt in the mash bill. There's chocolate, there's sort of spent coffee grounds, black pepper, maybe some cherries in there, like a chocolate cherry. it's got this underlying sweetness with the with that herbaceous kind of quality that sort of sits on top of that. So a sweet backbone with a nice herbaceous surrounding to it. No heat on the nose at all. Interesting thing, the 3-year-old was 50. I don't know if you could see it. There you go, 59.9% alcohol, and the 4-year-old was 60% alcohol, both at cask strength. So it just happened to be fairly consistent. Yeah, there's a good bit of spice back here now. That black pepper is coming out. Now I'm getting sort of the smell of cayenne without the heat of cayenne, that sort of bright, snappy, peppery style. All right, and then the nose on the 4-year-old. Oh, wow. Okay. So here it's much more chocolate forward. That, where the 3-year-old, the herbaceousness kind of popped, and the chocolate was playing sort of second fiddle. The tables have turned here. Now we've got that chocolate malt coming through. There's some deep dates. I don't know if you've ever had those coconut rolls. It's mashed up dates covered in coconut, flaked coconut, and then topped with a little almond. That's what this nose is. Yeah, much softer by comparison. And I wonder if that's an effect of the American oak, or the combination of American with French. I mean, it makes sense with French oak. You'd get spicier, more herbaceous notes coming through. In American oak, you tend to get that coconut, right? You tend to, if you think about bourbons, what are the major or the main flavors in bourbon? Quite often coconut and vanilla and things like that. And that's definitely coming in here. Yeah, really lovely. You can tell that the spirit is the spirit, meaning that there's connective tissue between the two. These are both clearly backwoods. They've got a really nice, strong rye spirit to them. Really lovely. Again, no real burn on the nose. Oh yeah, back to this. That herbaceousness gets greener, fresher, more spring-like. That's nice. Okay, I'm going to taste the 3-year-old. Again, this is the old one. This is the one that is no longer for sale. The 4-year-old is the one that went on sale today. So just so we're clear here. All right, 3-year-old. Right. The palate is doing what the nose tells it to do, or tells you it's going to do. Right, it comes on really herbaceous, bright, peppery. Beneath that, though, you've got some nice, rich, dark chocolate. A little bit of caramel, like warm caramel. The finish doesn't. It's going on and on. Okay. Second sip. That's when I start looking at some of that texture, and it's got a really nice roundness to it. But quite often with whiskeys we select, we look for that texture, we look for that oily quality, but if it has this nice sort of almost fizzy, effervescent thing to it, that's kind of intriguing to us, and that's what we're getting here. Oh man, we picked well. They made well, we picked well. Yeah, really well balanced. Really, really nice between that peppery herbaceous style, the chocolate. Oh, there's a little bit of white tea coming through, this delicate floral note coming through. And look at the flavometer, the floral component on that is a 2. So we definitely found it there when we selected it. So that's cool. It's nice to rediscover that. Nice to know that, even with this amount of whiskey left in it, you can see I tore the label there. Even with this amount of whiskey in it, it's still so vibrant. And a lot of those more subtle flavors really come through. Again, back to just Backwoods having a really, really solid spirit. Okay. Chocolate again, chocolate cherry. That date roll is back, but now there's this budding sort of herbaceousness is coming through, and almost like a breadiness, like that German rye bread, that sort of sprouted bread, if you will. Really nice. It's a different beast. Again, the nose told me exactly what the palate is going to do, which is really nice. It is that chocolate cherry up front. It is that toasted coconut. Oh, it's this sort of, hold on. Sort of rich Mexican vanilla extract, right? Oh, we're making like butter cookies here. Wow. It's sweet. It's a touch savory. It's rich and fruity. It's got that nice coconutty sort of note going on. Wow, that's really nice. It's really satisfying. A little bit of chicory, a little roasted chicory. Espresso beans, chocolate-covered espresso beans. Oh, but that rye just really kicks. Now that herbaceousness, if you focus on the finish, that rye kick is coming through. If you like American ryes, that's going to pop for you right there. Again, not pickly, but that wonderful sort of spicy herbaceous quality. Yeah. So there you go. If you experienced the 3-year-old way back when we sold it 2 years ago now, this 4-year-old will be within that family, but instead of being herbaceous forward, this is chocolate forward, followed by that rich herbaceous quality. So hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that it helps. We still have bottles of the Backwoods 4-year-old in stock, $95 a bottle. We still have some Stones of Stenness and some Foursquare remaining in the shop. And, combine some bottles. Make use of that flat shipping rate, $15 flat rate, up to 12 bottles. So it's, it's pretty good. Anyway, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. Thanks so much for everybody who's been supporting us. If you've been waiting, if you've been holding off on purchasing this bottle, I hope that this bottle helped you. Whether it's to buy a bottle or to not buy a bottle. Hopefully it's to buy a bottle. Anyway, look forward to seeing you all soon in a tasting on the YouTubes, maybe in your ears on a podcast with Jason. But until then, raise my glass to you. Cheers to everyone in the nation.